Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, again, Geeky Sparkle sitting this video out. So we're going to talk about Twitter. We're going to talk about Elon Musk, kind of. We're going to talk about how the media really wants Twitter gone. They can't control it, so they want it gone. There are all kinds of hit pieces being written about Twitter, how awful Twitter is right now, how awful Elon Musk is right now. If you search for Twitter at all, you're going to see story after story about Elon Musk, his behavior, and how it's becoming a haven for disinformation and the far right and all of that jazz. We've got this story on The Verge talking about how Twitter is going to become the next live journal or Tumblr. Actually, I would say Facebook is on its way to becoming the next live journal or Tumblr, but Facebook is apparently working on a Twitter competitor right now. Facebook can't even handle all the stuff it's got going on, but we'll talk a little bit about that. But this is all about, dunking on Elon Musk. So I will tell you the truth. I am actually not going to be on Twitter much anymore, but it's not because of the trolls or because of the disinformation or the, Elon Musk's behavior or any of that. It is basically a huge waste of time for me. We have a lot of things going on right now, and I'm kind of distrustful of social media in general anymore. And I don't think it's a good idea for creators to put all of their eggs into somebody else's basket. And this is kind of, we're seeing history repeat itself a little bit from our point of view, because we did webcomics for years, and the webcomic scene was the healthiest when everybody kind of owned and operated their own websites. When we all had our own sites and we all kind of managed our own stuff. And then along came sites like Tapas and Webtoon, and everybody kind of started putting their stuff onto these other platforms. And that was good for people that didn't really have the technical know-how to manage their own site. The only problem is when those sites, change their terms of service or whatever, you're pretty much at the mercy of the site owner, right? And the same with like Patreon. And instead of running your own subscription service or whatever, everybody's like, oh, it's so much easier just to let Patreon do it. Well, yeah, it is. But what if you tweet something that Patreon doesn't like? What if somebody links you to something that you're not even a part of or says, look, they drew lewd art in their Google Drive or whatever, and Patreon decides they don't like you. They can get rid of you for any reason. And the same is true of YouTube. I mean, it really is. How many people have gotten kicked off of YouTube or demonetized for stupid reasons? I mean, I think we're probably pretty safe. All things considered, we're very mild. And we do try to stick mostly to pop culture news and not wade into politics too much. And we try to stay away from spicy topics, but, it doesn't matter. I mean, the goalpost keeps getting moved, right? So I'm actually an advocate for people to go back to running their own websites. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because I want to do more with clownfishtv.com going forward. I mean, the site's actually set up that we can do anything with it. We can host comics, we can host video, we can do podcasts, we can do all that stuff. And we'll talk more about that, but we're going to talk about why everybody wants Twitter gone. Basically, they can't control Twitter, so they want Twitter gone. And they're already starting to case build as to why Twitter is going to implode. I do think it's doing better than Facebook, but you're not hearing about that as much because they still like Facebook. Facebook still censors, still censors people, I guess. Before you do anything further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. 297, almost 300,000 subs over here on YouTube. Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about pop culture. We talk about tech as it intersects with pop culture. And, it's hard to talk about pop culture without talking about social media because it's so linked, to it now. And so much of the cancel culture that we've talked about and the faux outrage has come from social media, namely Twitter. And it's interesting, you have the progression here. They said LiveJournal and Tumblr fell apart under new ownership that didn't understand their communities. The story could be the same for Twitter. I could argue, as someone who's been on the internet since freaking Prodigy and AOL, I could argue that the reason all of those social media platforms failed was because of the community there. I have said before, you can draw a direct line from LiveJournal to Tumblr to Twitter. And that culture, the activist stand culture has migrated from LiveJournal to Tumblr to Twitter. And everywhere this particular community goes, pestilence and destruction follow. Actually, if anything, I would say Twitter having someone like Elon Musk in charge, even though I don't agree with how he handled the situation with that one employee, the disabled employee. I think that should have been handled, back channel. But having somebody in charge like Elon Musk who is going to tell people no before things get too bad is probably a good thing. That being said, I personally don't think Twitter is changing fast enough. And I don't really see a path forward for someone like me who would like to perhaps monetize my presence on said platform, because it's really not worth it to me to just sit on there all day and scream at people or get involved in yelling matches. And that's basically what Twitter's for. But before that, it was Tumblr. And before that, it was LiveJournal. And a lot of the issues that we're seeing right now with, especially with comic book people, like you can trace everything back to LiveJournal when it became very, very easy for anybody to blog. Right? When everybody was given a voice, even the people who probably should have had a voice, when everyone was given a voice because of the ease of being able to get online and start a blog. That's when things started to go to hell in a handbasket, personally. Before that, there was a barrier to entry. You had to be able to build and maintain and pay for your own website. You had to have some business sense to host your podcast or host your webcomic or whatever. Manage a subscription service. Again, these are things that webcomics people were doing way before Patreon. And Patreon actually admitted to me that they lifted that model from webcomics people who are doing subscription services. So you really don't need them. But anyway, let's look at this article here. This is coming from The Verge. How a social network falls apart. And again, lots and lots of stories about what an awful person Elon Musk is and the journalist thing going on right now. And this is all about destroying Twitter because they couldn't control it. But remember, the people that live on Twitter did not think Elon Musk would be able to buy Twitter. And here we are. Twitter's in a period of decline. Citation, please. The site still functions. People are still using it, but there's a familiar stink that lingers on the website. It reminds me of the twilight days of two other social media platforms, LiveJournal and Tumblr. One-time vibrant communities that grew in popularity until everyone seemed to be using them, which then began a long, slow death. Pop into LiveJournal and Tumblr today, and you'll see inscrutable blogs, endless GIFs, and earnest writing, but something is missing. People. Although there's still content and posters, the site no longer feels like the communities they once were. LiveJournal began as an online diary service in '99, and it really boomed in the early 2000s. They talk about fan culture, Harry Potter fans, Lord of the Rings fans, the Mortal Instruments. Remember that? Things started to change in 2007 as LiveJournal's then owner, Six Apart, started looking toward a sale. In May of that year, just months before the company would be sold to a Russian company, blogs across various fan communities started to be suspended without warning, including the popular Harry Potter erotic fanfic community, Pornish Pixies. So again, this happened with Tumblr too. They had a corporate owner come in and want to, clean the site up for a sale. And they talk about the decline there. And they're basically saying the reason that it declined was they did not understand that queer feminist writers exploring the darker aspects of human nature. Many of my stories deal with incest, rape, and child molestation. They had to get rid of them. As such, I belong to and contributed to several of the communities. Wait, child molestation communities. Okay, that's not a community I want to belong to, but okay. Which have been suspended, and frankly, I'm pretty offended. I don't like being lumped in with rapists and pedos. But you write stories about, oh God, never mind. I'm not even going to explain it. Anyway, these are the kinds of people, that were on LiveJournal. And basically LiveJournal tried to clean up its act, and these people migrated to Tumblr. And then Tumblr decided it was going to clean up its act and get rid of the porn. And it went from being like $1 billion platform to being worth like $3 million. I think they sold it to WordPress for like $3 million. And it's a ghost town now. But again, that's what it's for. So Twitter in the beginning was actually pretty good. They're not getting to the point here. God, they're talking about how Tumblr's decline was like LiveJournal's decline and like Twitter's decline. It's the same people. You're not getting to the point, Verge. The point is the same people moved from platform to platform like locusts chased off the normies because you need normal people using your platforms. They chased the normies away. And then when they didn't get their own way, when the platform started to clamp down on, say, stories like the above person likes to write about, even though they claim that they're not pedos, but they like to write about that kind of stuff. When they start to clamp down on it, then they go elsewhere, you know, and rinse and repeat. This has happened so many times. This has happened so many times with so many sites. But anyway, it said, yeah, and Twitter back in the day was actually pretty decent. It was mostly tech bros and you know, Silicon Valley people and people that were on the internet a lot, like webcomics people posting stuff and posting about their day. And it was actually a pretty cool thing. It was like, I don't have time to post a full blog post, but I can tweet something quick. Like, hey guys, look at my food. Isn't it nice? Hey guys, look at my cat. Isn't it nice? And then it went from that to, hey guys, this person bought Hogwarts Legacy. They should die. You know, somehow we went from one to the other. And it's the same group of people that would have been on Tumblr, that would have been on LiveJournal, in my personal opinion. The same group of crazy ass stans who harass people who have a difference of opinion. And usually hide behind, you know, anime avatars or whatever. It's hard not to see the parallels to the current state of Twitter. Almost immediately after Twitter was bought by Musk, he started making unpopular changes to the platform, like bringing back some of those no good nicks. Some of them so unpopular, he had to immediately take them back, like banning links to other social media platforms. That was stupid, which Musk called free advertising for those competitors. Others, like the new feature that shows you how many times your tweet has been viewed or the ability to write 4,000 character tweets, fundamentally change the nature of the site and make it less usable. Not really. Actually, I'll be honest, I don't think it's changed very much. I don't think it's changed enough. I think that it's still very much the same thing, and the people who were crazy before are still crazy now. In fact, I would say they're crazier than they were because they didn't get their own way. Elon Musk owns the site. You know, people said they were going to walk away. They were going to, you know, rage quit. They're going to Mastodon, and there was no viable, immediately available alternative. Again, a lot of these people, they squat from free site to free site. They don't have the technical prowess to manage their own shit. They don't have the money to manage their own shit. And that has been sort of a double-edged sword. I mean, the internet is free and open for everybody at this point, but it could be argued that there are some people who maybe are better off, you know, ranting to themselves at home, you know, or in a mental institution instead of being on Twitter, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody should have, I don't think should have the platform, but that's just me. But they're talking about how they don't like the features. One element that makes Twitter different from Tumblr and LiveJournal, besides not being a place mainly dominated with screamingly horny teenage girls, is the pervasiveness of its leader. While Tumblr users once idolized platform founder David Karp, and LiveJournal users were aware enough of who ran and owned the site, Musk looms larger on as Twitter's owner. This is the problem. They don't like Elon Musk. His presence on the site, up to and including picking fights with various individual users, makes him feel less like the CEO of a social media website and more like a tyrannical forum moderator. That is not untrue. It basically, Elon Musk has turned Twitter into his $44 billion forum. But you know what? He paid $44 billion for it. He can do with it whatever the hell he wants to do. You don't have to like it. You don't have to stay. A ton of the site comes from the top, and it's difficult to want to post on a site owned by someone who openly believes that the media is racist against white people. He has a huge issue with the media. I have a huge issue with the media, and the media is freaking out, I believe, over Twitter because they had Twitter locked down. Twitter was their platform. It was activists, and activists who work in the media had Twitter locked down. It was used mostly by journalists and mostly by activists. Elon Musk came in and reinstated some people that these folks didn't like, and now all of a sudden everything is broken. Everything is broken now. You know, it reminds me of the forums of something awful. So now we're going to call it what, 4chan too, and we're going to call it, yep, there we go. Here we go. And then all of it, let's get to the end. Yeah, here we go. While Twitter alternatives like Mastodon have seen an influx of users as Twitter slowly winds down, there just isn't the same level of centralization on the platform there is on Twitter. On Mastodon, I can't bully a U.S. senator while I catch up on some celebrity gossip and then read breaking news straight from the journalists reporting it themselves. Is that what is that what you went to Twitter for, to bully U.S. senators and catch up on celebrity gossip? No, Mastodon is harder to use. That's what the whole thing is. There were so many people that were trying to figure out how to use Mastodon. They could not figure it out. In all these cases, LiveJournal, Tumblr, Twitter, and something awful, it's the users who ultimately decide if the sites are viable. We're all just following a horde of posters as they find new places to post, looking for places where posting feels safest and most plentiful. Twitter is already beginning its sad half-life as advertisers leave the platform and people look for the thing that will replace it. Actually, I believe advertisers are coming back to Twitter. I mean, and again, I'm not making excuses for everything going on over there, but a lot of people rage quit Twitter and then they realized it wasn't the right thing to do because people are still using it. This problem threatens Musk so much that he briefly banned links to competing social media platforms before reversing course. He knows as well as I do, the site doesn't have to go offline to be dead. I don't think this is actually happening. I think actually Twitter is very much alive. It's interesting how many commenters are saying that Verge is being unfair to Twitter and Musk were made today. Look, I am leaving Twitter, but I'm leaving it. Seems like the author picked a prompt, Twitter dying, prove it, and wrote an essay to argue the pro position. Most likely was assigned to. Possibly. Look, I'll tell you the truth. A lot of these media outlets are using AI to generate headlines because they've got programs out there that will actually tell you this is what's being searched for on Google this week. Write an article about it. I think people want Twitter to die. I think they want to look for reasons for why Twitter is dying. Actually, I think Twitter is weirdly improving, but I'm still going to lay off because of the time sink. So here's the Verge's coverage of Twitter under Musk is shockingly biased. Yeah, pretty much. So here's the thing. From my point of view, it's a waste of time. Again, I do a lot of things. We do a lot of things. We run businesses we don't talk about on the internet because crazy ass people on Twitter. I was tracking my time and how much time I was spending in pointless, fruitless arguments on Twitter versus the reward. And sometimes it is worth, I will tell you, as a business person, sometimes it is worth drawing attention to yourself on Twitter if it means you can sell something, if it means you can boost your profile, if it means you can whatever. So if it were like I were getting paid to tweet and I were taking people on Twitter and I was making money off of these people, I'd be like, you know what? It might be a good use of my time to spend more time on Twitter so I can make more money monetizing these idiots. The reality is there is no point. Like most of our site traffic, we own multiple websites. Most of our site traffic does not come from Twitter. People are not clicking to come in. What I have learned is that Twitter is basically a magnet for the mentally ill. If you are on Twitter and you're active on Twitter and they don't like you or they don't like your hot takes, they will follow you to other platforms so long as they can still post anonymously, right? A lot of people who are being left alone by the Twitter stalkers are people that basically just gave up on Twitter or don't tweet much. Now, I completely believe that we have some dedicated stalkers, you know, and they're gonna follow us all over the place. But I guess my thing is like, I don't want to engage or create more problems, you know, and basically waste my own time. We're doing a lot of things this year, and you know, it's. I mean, we've got so much going on. It's unreal. Like behind the scenes, you guys have no idea. So yeah, we're publishing comics again. We're going to be publishing games. We're going to be publishing tabletop games. Eventually, we're working on some right now. We are trying to grow our websites. We are starting a podcast network. We're lining up people right now to be part of the podcast network, lining up sponsors for that. We'll be doing more podcasts ourselves. We brought back the Pirates and Princesses podcast, which has been dormant for like 2 or 3 years now. Now we have the trademark back from our former business partner who tried to steal it. Now that we have that back, we brought the podcast back. We're going to be doing a Clownfish podcast and some other stuff. I am actually going to be writing more on clownfishtv.com because if I'm going to put all my eggs in a basket, I'm going to put them into a basket that we own. Because I know it's our website. We can always move it. You know, we can move it someplace else. Our website can pretty much do everything. We can host a video. We can do whatever we want to do. Podcast, video, comics is all set up to run off of clownfishtv.com. That is our backup plan in case YouTube goes sideways, which it might. And if we have problems, we can kind of deal with it versus going through a third party that could fold any day. I mean, Twitter could disappear tomorrow. I highly doubt it, but it could. Patreon is not doing well. Patreon, I think, is going to be gone pretty soon. And, I just don't want to, I just don't want to spend a lot of time investing in somebody else's website when I am so busy right now. So that's my reason for leaving. Other people are they just want to fail because they want to fail because they don't like Elon Musk, right? So Meta, we'll just wrap it up with this. They're looking for a Twitter competitor. They're trying to compete with Twitter. Facebook can't even Facebook right, but now they're going to try to compete with Twitter. And again, everybody's so desperate for something that is like Twitter, but not Twitter because of Elon Musk. Right? Meta exploring a new social network that could compete with Twitter. They're exploring a decentralized text-based social network that could compete with Elon Musk's Twitter because he's a jerk. The move could also help Meta attract some of the Twitter users who are looking for alternatives after Musk took over and changed some of the site's rules. Again, Facebook is still very heavy on the ban hammer. They will ban you for anything over there. They will, it's so easy to flag somebody on Facebook. I don't like Facebook anymore. I don't use it anymore. I use Messenger once in a while, and that's about it. So this is what they're saying. They're saying we're exploring a standalone decentralized social network for sharing text updates. Meta told CNBC on Friday, we believe there's an opportunity for a separate space where creators and public figures can share timely updates about their interests. Basically Twitter. The effort by Meta would expand its offerings beyond Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram into a space that has been dominated by Twitter, Elon Musk's Twitter. The project is being led by Instagram head Adam Mosseri, platformer said. Decentralized social networks like Mastodon or Jack Dorsey-backed Blue Sky rely on individual servers, which use a uniform protocol avoiding centralized control of content and possible censorship. So I think that's good in some ways, but again, it makes it hard for people who don't internet very well to use. This is why we had such an influx of weirdos. I don't know what else to call them. Because they're not normal people, a lot of them. Weirdos come on to LiveJournal and Tumblr and now Twitter because of the ease of use. It's very easy to use and it's very easy to be anonymous. It isn't clear how long Meta has been working on the P92 product or whether the company has moved into development. Money Control, which broke the story, cited a person familiar with the matter who said the idea was still a work in progress. Meta is also exploring integrations with existing social networks like Twitter or Mastodon, in part relying on a protocol called ActivityPub. So they want to compete with Twitter because they know there's a demand for Twitter without Elon Musk. And rinse and repeat. This one will die. Facebook's already turning into MySpace. Twitter probably will die at some point unless Musk, kind of speeds up the process a little bit. It was supposed to become an everything app, and I don't know. I mean, it's going to take a while. Obviously, it's going to take a while, especially with the skeleton crew. But until it reaches that point, and it might reach that point, but until it reaches that point, I personally just don't see a need to be on there. It just makes me angry. And again, if I'm going to be typing, I'd rather be working on something productive, something that I own. Just in case, because you never know what's going to happen. But there we go, guys. Everybody wants Elon Musk and Twitter, his version of Twitter, to go away. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.